Hey everyone, today we are going to talk about load balancing because it has come to my attention that this is a lesson that a lot of people I'm going to say aren't imparted with, right? Like no one ever tells you. It's like kind of one of those things. But it is massively important, especially when you get to bigger weights like open weights or whatever. But I've also seen it pose a problem as a judge, that is, I've seen it pose a problem in the ring or on a freight haul, even at 20 pounds, okay? And especially if you have a smaller dog where a novice weight is already kind of a lot, or even a brace team, like you really can't discount weight balancing, load balancing, even at the lower weights, okay? And I think we do, and that's fine. I'm not here to judge, I'm here to help, okay? All right, so when we talk about balancing, all right, here's our cart, okay? So when we talk about balancing, we want the carts are pretty balanced, right? On their own. You know, if I go to pick this up, it takes almost no effort to pick this up. The cart kind of finds a balance in here. If I go too far, it might tip up here. But really, especially with these kinds of shafts, this is heavier here. So there's always a little weight going forward. Even if I go all the way up, the cart, you can see, doesn't want to stay there, right? If I let go, it's going to drop, okay? We care about balancing because when we hitch up a dog, when they're pulling, they should be pulling and maneuvering the weight from those D-rings. This is my imaginary dog. This is about where the D-ring would be, pulled to the traces. The harness is designed to sort of disperse the weight, okay, across, even no matter what kind of harness you have, right? It goes around the head and then it disperses the weight into the traces, which then attach to the cart, which pull the weight, okay? Your dog should not be pulling the weight from their shoulders, okay? This is not part of the weight pulling. This is the brake, if anything. We can hold a different discussion on that later. But this is not for weight. The traces get hooked for weight. So that's why load balancing matters, because we don't want a bunch of pressure going downward, a bunch of weight going downward across the dog's withers or top of back. It should be kind of effortless. Like the same effort it's taking me to do this, which is a whole bunch of not much, that's how you kind of know that a cart is balanced, okay? So a lot of carts come with, mind me just crawling around here, a lot of carts come with a weight insert, okay, which has a bolt that goes up through and is often tightened by a big old wing nut, okay? This is my trusty Wilczek weight insert. The weight inserts sometimes, and this one has a great example with a spider web, you can even slide it a little in a different hole. It's kind of like has a dual hole. That's for like balancing, right? Because ideally what we want is the weight to go on, like here's just a 5-pound weight, this weight insert to slide in, and me to still have that same kind of tension here on the front end, right? It's not, I don't suddenly feel the weight of 5 pounds, but it's also not tipping up and staying up, right? It's coming back down, okay? So one of the reasons I still really am a fan of weight inserts is because this bolt is positioned so that it is over the axle or slightly behind it, is what I find, right? Because you do have the weight, at least in this cart, these shafts are adding weight, which want to push it down, right? So I find that, you know, putting this kind of in the back position, which is what it is, that that kind of helps the distribution, okay? Great, that's a weight insert. If you don't have a weight insert or you don't like weight inserts, totally fine. A lot of people are starting to use these soft kettlebell weights. They come in different shapes and sizes. They are lovely. They're lovely to travel with. It's great that this one little thing is 20 pounds. It's fantastic. Love it long time. But the thing is people are throwing this weight into the cart in 20 and not securing it. Okay, so then what happens is I go to lift that front end. Now I feel it. Okay, I don't know if you can even see that or tell, but like I can feel, you can see the flex in the shaft. The shaft is flexing before the cart is lifting. Okay, so because I threw it in and it slid down because gravity, and so now I have a lot of weight on the front of the cart. So if I put this into my dog's shaft loops and I ask them to pull it, this is going downward. So not only are they having to pull the weight forward, they're having to deal with the fact that this is now down a force, in this case 20 minus whatever that is, pounds on the front end. Not necessary. So when you are going to use a single weight like this, grab a yoga mat, okay, an old piece or something, or build a little something something that keeps your weights distributed in the right place where you like it, okay? The antithesis is, or the other thing I see is then people go up a hill with this kind of setup, and what happens? The weight goes back. Well, obviously it feels like I'm exaggerating, but the thing I see as a judge is what'll happen is you'll see the cart is wanting to lift, and so what you see is the shaft loops raise above the dog's withers, right? And so when that happens, I know as a judge that their weight, their load, has shifted to the back, and that's what the dog's feeling. So again, not only is the dog having to pull the weight forward, now the dog's having to like pull the weight downward to keep it balanced, okay? And obviously I'm giving you the worst case scenarios, right? With it all the way forward and all the way back, but I see this all the time, okay? I wish I didn't. I wish I'd never seen this before in my life, okay? But with just like a handy dandy piece of yogurt, this is not yogurt, yoga, you can tell, yoga mat or something similar, you can keep this from moving. Now, I'm playing around with this with just 20 pounds. So you can imagine that when you start to add weight, okay, to this, you really have to care. Let me just grab another one. Okay, so now we're just talking about 40 pounds. It's not even that much yet. Okay, and I want to add this. I really want to think, and I spend time really wedging my weights into a position that I like, and I will, before I hook up my dogs, I will do this sort of course I should put my yoga weight in first. Wouldn't that help me in my little demonstration here? Yoga mat in, starting over the axle. I know from this cart I'm going to want it just a smidge behind the axle, and now when I go to pick up the weight, look, it's back to how it felt when it was empty. Okay, it's not too far back, it's not too far forward, and as I raise it and lower it, my weights haven't moved, and that's just with a little yoga mat. Okay, so there are lots of ways to load your cart. Practice this without your dog. Load your cart, figure out what it's going to be, because even if you have a bunch of time, you think at a draft test with nerves and adrenaline and excitement and all that kind of stuff, it's harder. So just know, have a weight plan, have a load plan. You know, if you're using one of these, great, but test whether or not you want to take advantage of the fact that these holes move and you want to shift it backwards or forwards, okay? Because like I said, my weight isn't exactly centered over my axle for this particular cart because these shafts are a little heavier. For somebody else with a cart with aluminum shafts, maybe it's right over the axle, okay? In general, if you really don't know, just sort of aim for keeping most of your weight over your axle. And if you have a brace cart where you've got half the weight in front and half the weight in back, really think about that distribution. I saw somebody this past year they had 150 pounds in the cart and 100 of it was up front. Well, what do you think this part felt like to that team, right? It was definitely pushing down on them, okay? So we shouldn't need a whole bunch of like a mattress worth of padding under their shoulders because it shouldn't be that much tension or that much weight bearing down. A couple pounds, right? Because we don't want it to flip up. But it's a Goldilocks problem, right? Not too little, not too much. We're looking for just right, okay? So I hope that helps you. Go to your garage immediately, go start playing with your weights, figure out like what's your good weight distribution. Maybe you want different types and denominations of weights. I'm not sure that's the right word, but maybe you need to play with that too, but play with it without the dog. Your dog will thank you and your judges will have one less heart attack.